We're back. We're back. Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Tuesday is Adopt a Dev Day.
And I know that it's Tuesday because my only anchors currently, as we've discussed on other shows, are 90 Day Fiancé, which I'm feeling very lost this week, Daniel, because there was no 90 Day Fiancé on Sunday because of the Super Bowl, and I don't know where I am or what day it is. So, but I know that Mondays are 90 Day Fiancé Day, Tuesdays are Adopt a Dev Day. So I've got my anchor for the week here. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing great. My voice is slightly gone because I streamed for way too long yesterday, but it was really exciting. I got my first couple of subscribers, so that was really awesome.
Oh my gosh, how many subscribers do you have? That's so
I have
exciting.
3 subscribers now.
Oh my gosh. Isn't it? Okay, so I have 7 subscribers, and I just got my new Mac M1 processor. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited because I'm going to set up all the fancy beeps and boops and everything for when people subscribe, because I feel bad. I can't really interact without using the Twitch API. But Daniel, hi Andy. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning.
I'm really excited because on the Bit Project stream yesterday, because Mondays, in addition to 90 Day Fiancé, another anchor for my life on Monday is the Bit Project stream, of course. I am building a start to finish from scratch app with Adrian from Courier and with Lorena, who was our very first guest on Adopt a Dev. And we are basically building, okay, so Daniel, super annoying. Every time we ever go on a stream, you and I are always like, oh my God, we got to tweet. Like we just started at 10, 15 instead of 10. We're like, oh my gosh, we got to take the picture. We got to tweet the thing. But Adrian has this awesome blog series that we're kind of like working with for Bit Project to make it such that when we go live, it'll automatically tweet that we're live using an Azure function and Courier. Well, tweet is nice to have. We're going to have it send notifications through text message, through email, so that way we can like notify people the proper way. But thanks for your patience, y'all, as we got things going. Someone says, Daniel, how is Mushi Mushi? What's Mushi Mushi?
Mushi Mushi is a pink oyster mushroom I'm growing out of my closet.
Okay, what?
Okay. Let me tell you the backstory. So, I met this I have a friend in Seattle, and I asked him, "Hey, what are you doing for the quarantine? You know, what's spicing up your life?" And he was like, "I'm growing mushrooms out of my closet." And I'm like,
"That's mold, sir."
It is mold, but also it is pink mold. It is bright pink. Wait, let me show you it. I ate half of Mushi Mushi. That sounds very violent. So let me go get Mushi.
Okay.
So this is Mushi Mushi.
Mushi Mushi.
It's this like pink oyster mushroom. It's pink.
Ma'am! Okay.
Isn't
Mushi Mushi. Where did you get this from?
Amazon.
Okay. Interesting.
And all you have to do is give it like 2 tablespoons of water and let it sit.
Okay. That's like me and cold brew. Interesting. Oh, look, Daniel has a new subscriber, by the way.
Who subscribed to me? Wait,
I think
what?
Andy means themselves.
Yeah. Oh, follower, I think, right? I don't think it's a subscriber. I didn't get a notification.
Oh, yeah. Lorena says, yay, the mushroom. I'm intrigued by this. Everyone's saying, whoa, the mushroom. Oh, yeah, it matches my headphones. Mushi branded
Mushi.
headphones.
Also, Nova Glow helped name my mushroom. So
Mushi.
It's very cute. You should get one. If you were to get a mushroom, you should get this one.
And I just keep it in a closet?
Yeah, you can keep it in some Tupperware so it doesn't like smell like mushrooms in your closet.
And I eat it?
Yeah, you just cut it off and fry it in too much butter.
Okay.
It tastes really good.
Interesting. I've not heard of this before, but this is fascinating to me.
I can tell you're slightly grossed out, but like it's not that gross.
No, I think totally normal to have a closet mushroom during quarantine. Totally blink twice if you're okay.
I don't know if I'm okay. I don't know if I'm okay. I might need a little bit of help.
Oh my goodness. Okay. How has your week been, Daniel? What have you been up to? I mean, it sounds like you've been streaming a bunch. What have you been doing?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get I've been coding because I'm
Okay.
trying to ship an app with a
Okay.
couple of folks at Bit Project. So we're working on a really exciting app that we're building on Twitch live. So every day you'll see me pair programming with someone. So that'll be really exciting.
Nice.
I have also gotten into interior decorating because I have nothing else to do.
Okay.
So all
Yes.
my days when I'm not coding is thinking about how I can make my room look more aesthetic.
Okay.
So that has not been working out that well because I always regret my purchases because nothing looks like it does on Amazon. Like in Amazon, everything is staged so
There's
beautifully.
an AR feature in Amazon you should try out for some of the items that I've seen on my phone where it's like, see this on a shelf or something. That might be worth
Yeah,
it.
that might be worth it. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's been what I've been up to. I also I've been really into biking. So I just got a
Okay.
new bike, which has been really exciting.
What kind
So
of bike?
I got a really nice road bike,
Nice.
and
I used
it's
to have a
toy.
folding bike
You can
back
see
in the
it. Can
day.
you see it?
Wow. Yes.
It's hanging on my wall.
Where are you
But yeah,
biking around? The bay?
yeah. So I live close to Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, beautiful.
So
I used to work over there. I love it. That's such a nice and like I bet it's not that crowded these days.
so I just got 2 more subscribers, and I have to sing a song because I don't have the fancy
Oh
animations.
my gosh, yeah.
I
Soft
sing a
Taco
song.
Raider, thank you for the sub.
Yeah.
What should we sing?
So the only song I know
The
by heart
Reality
is
Gaze song.
oh no, we can't do that one.
Love, exciting and new. Go online. We can't pay for the rights. We can't pay for the rights. Okay.
I sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star because that's the only song I know from beginning to end.
They're catfishing you, Beyonce. Okay, if you don't listen to Reality Gaze, do
What are
yourself
you
a
doing?
favor and do that. Since there was no 90 Day Fiance yesterday, I did tweet something yesterday that I think is relevant to share on this show. So if you've never come to this show before, this show is called Adopt a Dev, inspired by, well, an idea that Daniel came up with, but inspired by all the really awesome, cool, interesting people that we know who are non-traditional background engineers, self-taught engineers, boot camp grads, people making transitions into tech. Daniel identified, I'm pointing the wrong way, Daniel identified that it is really hard to get your foot in the front door as a non-traditional background dev in this industry. I, of course, can attest to that as someone who did that myself through boot camp. And I did this tweet the other day, Daniel. Let me share my screen here. It's all about, so let me give a little context here. I mentor a lot of non-traditional background engineers, people making the transition into tech. And the number one thing that I hear from folks entering this industry is just how difficult it is to face the amount of rejection that they're facing. Because you have to remember, as a
Wait,
non-traditional
wait. I
background
think
engineer,
this is the moment for the TED Talk.
oh
Uh,
yes, you're right, you're right. Okay, so let
we're
me,
starting a new segment on our
it's a
show,
new
y'all.
segment on the show. I'm going to use it as punctuation. Don't worry, I've got it queued up. So
Okay, cool.
as a non-traditional background engineer, it's very, very different than coming into this industry with a degree or with previous experience on your resume. And I did a thread yesterday because I found myself having a lot of conversations with folks trying to enter this industry, and they were really feeling discouraged about their job search. They're like, "Oh my God, I applied to like this job that I really wanted, and I got rejection." I was like, "Honey."
Hanny.
Buckle up. This is going to be your life for a little bit. You know, there are people out there who immediately go out and get the first job they apply for, but that's usually not the case. So here's an important visual that I think is important to share. And I basically wrote that getting your first job in tech is a very vulnerable, terrifying, unpredictable experience. You're not alone. What you're doing is hard. But I think this image is important to share. I did not make this image. This is by Sylvia Duckworth. That's a great name. But success is an iceberg. We had this in the bathroom stall at Hackbright. So every time we peed, we saw this and were reminded of this back when we could do classes in person. And I think about this image a lot because I'm sure a lot of people probably either follow me or follow other people in this industry who have gotten to where they are, and they just see the tip of the iceberg. But I want to make it really clear to everyone that that little sad heart at the bottom was and usually is me. I am a really good actress and I'm good at faking it. But truly, there is so much rejection, hard work. I used to be an actress and audition for things, and it wasn't as brutal as a whiteboarding interview. So you can check out this whole tweet thread. I did a whole thread about, how important it is. But essentially what I said in this thread, Daniel, was I used to host these bootcamp office hours at the Microsoft Reactor. And, thinking that the most helpful part of it would be whiteboarding practice or interview practice. But really, the feedback that we got, the most helpful part for folks was just talking to other people going through the same situation and realizing that they weren't alone. Becoming a software engineer, making a career transition into tech is really, really hard. Like you just learned a new programming language. Like you interviewing as a dev sucks. Yeah, we have this, I'm going to get the mouse on the right screen here, but Andy Piper, totally agree here. Whiteboarding, interviews, blah, absolutely. And I put this in here because I think it's important for people to have perspective of how much they've grown. Imagine interviewing your entire life with a nice chat and a resume discussion, and then discovering your love of programming, and then suddenly you're made aware of whiteboarding. Like that's all of us, right? But it's particularly hard, and what these folks are doing entering this industry is really, really hard. So you can check out this thread later. This is just really encouraging folks to make sure that they're being mentored by folks who have experienced the same. There's all sorts of biases that come with being a person of color or a woman, or so make sure that you are finding. I got to do the timing right, Daniel, on my TED Talk. Hold on, this is our first time doing this segment.
Wait, delete the wait, unshare your screen so you're like the star of the show.
Yes, that's important. Okay, so this is all to say that it's really important to have perspective while you're doing the job search, because this
I'm gonna lose
shit
it.
is hard. Okay? This shit is hard. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh my god.
That's a new segment on the show called TED Talks. We hope you tell us in the chat if you enjoyed that, because that took some rehearsal before the show. Thank you. Yeah, oh my god. That was amazing. Thank you so much. I actually saw Almiza, shout out to Almiza, on Instagram and Twitter, use that in an Instagram story the other day, and it blew my mind. So thank you for dealing with that. Oh, wow. Thank you, Andy, for subscribing. That's so nice. You don't have to do that. That's so kind. I appreciate all y'all. Okay, we're 30 minutes in, but we started a little late. Daniel, I'm going to let you... Okay, sorry. We just got to come down from that TED Talk energy.
Yeah. That TED Talk was amazing.
Oh, real quick, I made this shirt. I just wanted to share this. It's my first time wearing it on stream. I mean, I didn't make the shirt. I got the shirt from Target, and then I added this in the middle.
Wait, I have a question. Did you use that shirt bot that stalked you on Twitter?
Daniel, no, but I did buy that shirt because I'm going to do a talk around it. So if people didn't see this, I wish I had the tweet up to share with people. So if you're on Twitter... This is a fun thing that I learned a couple weeks ago. If you're on Twitter and you comment enough times, or enough people comment, I want that on a shirt, where can I buy this on a shirt? Shirt bots will target your post and then post where you can get that shirt. Oh my gosh, I'm so tempted, Daniel, to run upstairs and grab it to show everyone. Should I grab it?
But like, you're telling us that like it actually worked.
Yeah, let me grab it. The shirt. Here, vamp for a second while I bought it because I want to do a talk around the importance. Okay, there's like a whole talk I'm going to write about this. 1 second. Daniel, entertain the lovely folks at home while I grab this shirt. Then we're going to introduce our guest.
Okay. Oh, I can tell you a little bit about the guest that we have today while I kind of stall for Chloe while she gets her shirt. So yeah, I met Shreya. So Shreya Gupta is the person we're interviewing today. And I met her at college because, yeah, I was in college, believe it or not. I graduated like last year, so I'm still very new to the tech world. And Shreya was one of the first folks that believed in this idea I had when I was in college to start a student org together. So we've been friends for like 3 years, 4 years, 3 years. It's been a really long time since we've been friends. And yeah, what we've been doing is we run a nonprofit together called Bit Project, which is what me and Chloe work on. And Yeah, we really want her to get a job as a developer advocate slash community manager. So we really want to showcase her amazing talents in today's show and get to know her a little bit more, and then get to introduce her to the world.
Should I
And we also
educate?
pair program. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Should I educate the children on the shirt bot?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was I wore this shirt and it said girls just want to have funding for scientific research or something like that. And it's made by a lovely, lovely woman named Mary, who I will share the Etsy store for. But I was getting really pissed off because all these shirt bots, people were like, I want this on a shirt. And I was like, great, you can buy it from Mary. But then everybody was like, all these shirt bots came on, right? And so then I was like, is this a thing? Like, I didn't know that shirt bots were a thing. So I started a different thread and I shared an image that said, I tweeted about this design and all I got was this unlicensed shirt from a Twitter bot. And this is what came in the mail. And I want to do a talk now because this has opened up a whole can of worms on there are so many licensing issues for artists online. These shirt bots are really kind of predatory in that way. And I want to do a whole talk about bot ethics and why you should use bots for good. I, of course, don't support you buying the shirts from these shirt bots, but I had to do it to see it was a thing. Let's see. Yeah, can you explain more about shirt bots? Actually, you know what I'll do real quick before we bring our guest on is I'll show you actually what this looks like. Yeah, please attend this TED Talk. I will find the tweet.
Wait, do you want to do that after the show? Because I want to make sure that we have enough time to showcase.
Yes. Let's do that after. We'll get it all
Okay,
queued
cool.
up. But Daniel, how about you do the intro real quick, and then we'll bring in Shreya the Cray.
Yeah, so like I said, Shreya's been a friend of mine for so long, too long, I would say. I'm just kidding. I love you, Shreya. She's graduating this June with a degree in computer science engineering, and she's really passionate about diversity and inclusion and about getting more women and non-traditional folks into tech. And she's really passionate about getting developers to be better versions of themselves, and kind of leveling them up. And I really wanted to showcase her talents and amazing personality on today's stream, so she gets a job and she gets adopted.
Should we add her into the thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's add her.
I also want to say that they also have one of the best Instagram handles that I've ever seen, Shreya the Cray, and I will only be referring to this person as Shreya the Cray on this show. Welcome everyone, Shreya the Cray.
Shreya the Cray.
I'm muted. I just, in a very high-pitched voice, screamed, "Oh my God, hi, how are you guys doing?"
So good. We, of course, started off this show pre being on the air talking about Victorious, so I'm already having a great day.
It was a great conversation.
So Daniel, and stop me if you guys talked about this while I was retrieving my shirt, but how did the two of you meet originally?
Shreya, do you want to tell that story? I think you tell it better and more
Sure,
accurately.
yeah. So Daniel refuses to acknowledge the fact that before Bit Project, he did try a different organization.
No, that never happened. What are you talking about?
That never happened. No, he was super interested in education and making sure people had access to like accessible education before I knew it was even a thing. And he started this organization that was based around more electrical-based engineering and hardware, and just getting kits out to students. And that's how we first met. I was part of the web dev team, and it was really cool to kind of see his very business and entrepreneurial side in that organization. Obviously, things didn't work out exactly, but it was a great learning experience for both of us. And a year into that organization, we started Bit Project, just to kind of like change tracks into software. That's how it originally met. And he was honestly, like from the start, just the best mentor friend, everything in the world, because he was so dedicated to just helping build people around him. And I was someone who came from like in my first year of college, I was in CS, always kind of felt like I didn't belong there. I wasn't succeeding. I was kind of struggling in classes. But to kind of see someone who was helping me build skills that didn't necessarily have to do with development, but would then also still help me succeed in tech was really awesome. But yeah, over time, mentorship, friendship, everything just kind of happened. And he's still been my best friend since then.
And did y'all meet at UC Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
UC Davis. I used to do theater in Davis, California, and at the Varsity Theater nearby UC Davis.
No
And there
way.
was a restaurant across the street, and it was my first pun restaurant I've ever heard of as a kid called Walk and Roll. And I hope it's still there because it was delicious.
That is so cool. We have to go there after the pandemic together.
That's the first place we're going. We're going to go to Dollywood first because that's first on my list. Then we're going to go to Walk and Roll. Um, so Shreya, I am really interested to know. So, what was your degree in? Did you guys both met in the computer science program?
I was in computer science and engineering. Daniel, you were in, I think,
Electrical
electrical.
engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what, because I'm very jealous. I didn't know anything about computer science, but when I was thinking about where to go to college, what was your exposure to CS?
So it's interesting because my dad was in electrical engineering when he was younger, but growing up, they were pretty flexible about what I wanted to do in life. And throughout like elementary through high school, I was very much into math on one side, but also like theater and acting and filming and on the other side. So like high school point, I was like, oh, should I go to New York or should I go to engineering? I can't decide. And it was just kind of like a collective family decision to say, let's try out computer science because I had never actually gotten a chance to take a computer science class, just because it seemed something where I could use both my creative and my more STEM side, put them both to use. So I tried it out and I struggled a lot, but throughout the process, my parents were like, no, you can do it. And they were super encouraging about the whole thing. And like I said, I met Daniel and he helped me a lot through just getting through college as well. So that was kind of like the initial exposure.
I did not know about this performer side of you. Tell us about that. Did you do
Yeah.
musicals? What is the story there?
It was super like it was always based in school. I was never able to get out of like the school playground,
Sure.
but I just it was musicals. It was just any type of theater acting based thing that I could do. I tried to like get my certification in acting as well at one point. It was really cool, but I don't know. After college, I was just super embarrassed to talk about it until I heard you talk about your life story, and I was like, wait, no, that's what sets me aside. I can talk about this stuff, and it's okay.
Well, I'll say that you chose the path that pays you a little bit more money, so good going there. um, but I'm sure that you use a lot of those theater skills just in what I know working with you. I'm like, oh, I see this little performer bug. Interesting. I didn't know this part of your origin story, Shrey. Isn't it kind of fascinating? We were just talking before the show about Victorious and about these earlier parts of our lives, but I think a lot about when we were all, I mean, I was 16, 17, very long before y'all were. But it is a very strange thing to expect 16, 17, I mean, even 15, we start thinking about college, to expect youths to decide what they're going to spend a bunch of money or get a bunch of scholarships in and work really hard to get as a degree. I just think that's so wild that we put that on kids. Like, I think that's a big reason why I'm making a career change a lot later in life. I didn't even know computer science was a thing, but it sounds like, Shreya, you could have gone either way. Like, you were very much trying to decide which one, and it sounds like your family is in tech then.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult at that point when you're in high school and you're like competing with all these other kids, but people make you feel like you have to know exactly what you're going to do. No one tells you that you probably won't end up even in that same major or job career in 10 years down the line.
What about this guy right here, Daniel, with his electrical engineering degree, now working in DevRel?
Well, I didn't know that engineering would be that hard because, to be honest, when I grew up, I was watching NCIS, and you know that scene where like the people are like typing like this, and then like they just get things done.
I'm in the
was like,
mainframe.
I'm in the mainframe, and then they type as most obnoxiously as possible in their mechanical keyboard.
NCIS. I love this.
So I just imagined that my degree would be that. I'd just be able to just like furiously type into a keyboard, and then I would just get things done. And I was like, that sounds really awesome.
I recently learned that on 24, isn't the girl's name Chloe? I feel like her name's Chloe. Like, I think about women on TV who are like hacking the mainframe. I'm like, there was a Chloe that I didn't even know about. But Shreya, Shreya the Cray, sorry. So excuse me, Shreya the Cray. Did you have any, it sounds like your parents were in STEM, but did you have any role models or people to kind of look up to in that space that looked or acted or sounded like you at all? Like what did you have in that regard?
It's really weird because I grew up kind of around the world, so I moved a lot and I met a lot of people, but I still have never before college come across someone who was in tech. And even my dad, he had a degree in electrical engineering, but his job wasn't actually related to that. So I never actually saw him like, doing the engineering stuff at home. So computer science very much was just like this really cool concept that existed. And at the high school level, even, it was mostly just learn how to make a PowerPoint presentation. Wow, you did it.
Right.
Um, so I had no idea what I was getting into when I got to college. And then I'm seeing all these kids that have been coding since they were 13 and they know how they've been like gaming since they were younger too. My gaming experience is literally just like Animal Crossing and Nintendogs.
Same. Maybe some Club Penguin. I'm trying to think of your age group.
Honestly,
I
yeah,
played
Club
Pop
Penguin was it.
Tropica. That was like the raging game when I was in elementary school. Have you heard of Pop Tropica?
No.
I haven't.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Neopets. I'm aging myself here. Neopets was big for me. And LiveJournal and MySpace had some basic HTML in it, but same thing, Shrey. Like we had to do a senior project portfolio thing where we basically used a PowerPoint, and it was a clickable PowerPoint, so you could like click on different items and it would take you to different pages. And I remember really enjoying that. Like this is my senior year of high school, so I've already chosen what my degree, what college I'm going to go to, and I was like, this is cool, but like didn't think to ask anyone like, is this computer science? Should I change my major? So I love that you were, Habbo Hotel, Andy. Okay. Habbo Hotel, I spent a lot of time in there. They just celebrated an anniversary recently, I saw on Twitter. Habbo Hotel was basically, gosh, how would you explain it, Andy? It was like you were an avatar online. It was Animal Crossing, basically, but human crossing for chat rooms online.
Human Crossing.
All right, Daniel, I'm going to let you take the questions from here.
Yeah. So, what kind of how are you? So, what is your experience learning how to code, and what were kind of like the high points of you learning how to code?
I'll start with the low points because I feel like it was mostly the journey to the high points.
Yeah, the
It's been a
iceberg
long
of
time.
success. Start at the bottom of the iceberg.
Exactly. In my first year of college, like right off the bat, I felt like I don't belong here. I'm in the wrong major. And I know a lot of other students that also came from non-tech backgrounds that felt the same. And it was constantly like the struggle of just dropping out because no one tells you that there's a whole world of other opportunities out there after college. And they're just like, if you can't pass the CCS 40 class, you probably shouldn't be here. And it's very explicitly said too. Um, so I think in the beginning it was a real struggle of just like I have to somehow find a way to compete with all of these people that already know all of these concepts and understand computer science. And it was in my second year when I started working with Daniel and all these organizations, and I realized that it's okay to not have that much experience as long as that's something that you enjoy doing and you're willing to put the time and effort into it. So over the course of like my third and fourth year, I've put a lot more time into self-teaching computer science. Even nowadays, Daniel's been doing pair programming with me on his live stream, which has helped a lot more, honestly, than college courses might have, because it kind of forces you to sit down and be like, okay, I'm coding all of these things. Sometimes I'm having to like look up things on Stack Overflow, but why am I making certain decisions? Because they don't teach you that at the college level. They're just, as long as your code is working and passing the test cases, you're good to go.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of women in your program, Shreya, or was it pretty scarce over there? Because I'm sure with imposter syndrome, you're looking around and you're going like, I already feel like I don't belong here. I don't see a lot of people like me here. At least that's what I hear from a lot of students.
No, I think that's definitely true. In my first year, I got really lucky that I had like this whole group of girls from India that were also in computer science. And then in my second and third year, they just suddenly disappeared. I don't know where everyone went, but I was in
Yeah.
a classroom of like 20, 30 guys. And then I was just like sitting there looking around like, okay, am I in the wrong room? Like, did something happen? But
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely those moments where you realize that it's not a lie. There's definitely a big gender disbalance even right now.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
quick announcement, important announcement. I have 420 followers right now. Just a really important moment. 420,
I saw
y'all.
that. It's so cool.
Wow.
420. We're not allowed to smoke weed on the show, but
But
just
we can do edibles, right?
I don't know about that. It's early. Just important historic moment. That is so interesting. And also, Shreya, and a lot of the women that I talk to who attend university and are often the only woman in the class, they often think, oh, it seems like there's a confidence gap, right? There's all these articles that are out there that say women are only more likely to apply to a job where they fit something like 90% of the job qualifications. And I feel like I often have a very similar conversation, especially with university students, that said, I thought I was the stupidest person in the class. Everyone was acting like they got the material. And then when the teacher asked me to be the TA for the next semester, I thought, oh my God, what are you talking about? And they said, you had the best grade. So there's almost this confidence gap in a way too, where we're having imposter syndrome. We're thinking we don't belong here as it is, but when the reality is everyone's confused and no one knows what they're doing, especially when we're first learning.
Yeah. I think like one of my strengths as a DevRel is my extreme passion for admitting when I don't know something. I will literally shout from the rooftops when I don't know something. You can see in my live streams when I don't understand something, I'm like, I do not understand this. Please explain this to me. I'm so forthright with my non-knowingness that people in college actually thought I was very incompetent. It was to that point because I just would constantly ask stupid questions. But I think that's been a strength of mine because it allows you to get a deeper understanding of what's going on. And there are these people, well, there's so many people out there that are too afraid to ask questions and afraid to like look dumb in front of people. I don't know if this is a TED Talk qualified
I think it's a TED Talk moment. Let me get you in the center. Okay. Get your final thought out for the TED. This is new. We're practicing.
We're practicing.
Oh my gosh, yes. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot. Hold on. Okay, go.
Oh my God, this is so awesome.
Your head is gone. Okay. Okay, so give us your final thought and double click to zoom out.
Okay, I think it's really important to never be afraid to ask questions because even in the moment, if you look stupid, eventually you will, have a better understanding of the core concepts than other people, and you'll be a better developer and a person. Oh my gosh,
this is great.
I'll eventually get used to this, but I'm not used to this yet.
We got to do some rehearsals. Funny. This is only our first time doing it. I love that you're live coding, Shreya, because Shreya the Cray. I love that you're live streaming Shreya the Cray because something that I've noticed, even as a person who works professionally as DevRel, there's such a difference between, and I've been explaining this to a lot of folks recently. Typically, as a DevRel, we would go out into the world and we would give a demo or give a talk. And this is like a thing that we've practiced over and over to show like, here's the great way that Microsoft does blank, right? And I think what's been really cool, not only as a presenter, but as a consumer of streaming content, is live streaming your code is such an authentic, vulnerable experience because typically when we're walking through, even when we have the Bit project tutorials that we make, or even when we're following a tutorial, like PJ and I are building Shreya bot and we had to learn how to use the Twitter API. So we walked through a video where a guy, I think it was Coding Train, showed us how to use the Twitter API. And I think there's such a difference between going through a step-by-step tutorial and then running into all these issues like, oh my gosh, I don't have the dependency packages. Like it's doing live coding is such a realistic view into, okay, let's search this on Stack Overflow. Let's Bing it. Let's figure out how to solve this. Because in reality, as developers, we are never just going through a tutorial step by step and we think this will take 10 minutes, but it never does. Yeah, shout out to the Coding Train. Absolutely. But I love that you're live coding because I know that like for especially someone who's starting it, it's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But I'm like, no, it's a huge deal. You're bringing people to the table and letting them learn with you. So thank you for doing that, Shreya. Shreya the Cray.
Wait, I have a follow-up question, teacher. Yeah. Could I get called on?
Yes. Here, would you like? Cool. Here.
Oh no! Wait, Shreya needs to be in the spotlight.
Okay, I thought you were gonna give a TED Talk. I got excited.
Oh no! Shreya, I had a question. Because I know that live coding it can be really intimidating, especially if you're like not the most advanced developer that knows everything. Like you, especially when you're starting out. If you have to give some advice to someone who's kind of wants to start live coding but are kind of afraid because they are like afraid they're gonna get asked the question or don't know something, like what advice would you give?
Oh my God, definitely. I think we spoke a little bit about my experience last night after the stream as well. How in the very beginning, like in the first stream, I was so scared that I literally could feel my face heat up every time Daniel was like, "What does that mean?" And I didn't know because I thought it was like the most basic thing and I should know this by now. And then like 4 or 5 streams later, yesterday, you were asking me these questions and I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. Let's figure it out. Let's think about it a little bit." But I think that initial kind of barrier is the problem of getting into live coding of, oh my God, I'm going to say something that's really stupid and someone in the comments is going to think I'm really stupid and then it's just going to all fall apart. But nobody in the chat actually cares. In fact, they're like rooting for you to go through that struggle and then come out of it understanding something better because they also have felt that in their life as programmers. So just find someone to code with in the beginning who can help you kind of ask those questions and not, judge you for it. Friend, someone that's in tech industry, even if they're not in the tech industry, that might be better because you'll feel less intimidated. And then just sit with them and just have a fun conversation. Let them ask you questions. If you don't know, it's totally okay. Just Google it. It's all about like people seeing the process of you understanding this, so that they know how to understand it as well in the future.
That was a big part of Hackbright, actually. Pair programming in general was just a really, really big part of the program because I think what happens a lot, especially for folks who are self-taught, is they think, I'm stupid. Like, I am trying to go through this tutorial and I don't know any of these things or pieces. And I think that's a big conversation that myself and PJ have had a lot in working with the Twitter API, is the importance of clear documentation, which y'all hire Shreya, if you want clear, awesome documentation. She's doing some amazing stuff with Bit Project. But making those things accessible, like we've said, Daniel's very passionate about, I'm very passionate about myself. Because if people, I think the best advice I ever got as a DevRel, this is a TED Talk moment. Hold on. It's a TED Talk moment.
Okay, we gotta have it hooked up to our stream decks, so it's like one click, and it's like whoa.
We'll have to work with that with Adrian on Bit Project. Okay, ready for my TED Talk. I need a pink shirt though, so it's really important to always make beginner content because when you think about it, everyone is a beginner. It's not zooming out, Daniel. What do I do?
You have to click the thingy.
I am clicking the thing. The audacity of this app. Okay, let's try again.
Oh my God.
Okay, so in conclusion, it's very important to always make beginner content because everyone is a beginner to start with. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you so much.
That made me emotional. That was beautiful.
Thanks. I'm so small now. I need to turn this filter off.
Where did Chloe go?
Okay, I'm back. Okay, and scene.
That was really good.
But yeah, being vulnerable and being out there and showing other people is important. And let's see. We got a couple. Pair programming can be really cool. I lived that for 2 years at Pivotal. Yeah, a lot of companies really live by the pair programming way. And I'm really glad it's become trendy because now I just get to learn from all my friends all the time. And it's really great.
Yeah, I think pair programming also, it's really important to kind of know that not to take things personally, because I think something I learned when I pair programmed for the first time, when I didn't know something, I could feel my face getting hot. Like I could feel the anxiety creeping into my face. But as I pair program on a daily basis now, it's more like, let's just figure it out together. It's more of a learning experience than a quizzing experience. I think it's really important to make it as friendly as possible. That's kind of key.
I'm listening. I just randomly started bleeding profusely on my finger. So I'm going to get a Band-Aid. And Daniel, I gave a TED Talk and I'm bleeding. This is what's going on Adopted Dev today. Just what a time to be alive. I'm going to get a Band-Aid. Daniel, take it from here.
Okay, cool. So Shreya, I have a question for you. So what is a moment of you just experiencing something within Bit Project or school or anything where you felt like you have grown the most, or you've learned the most? What is an experience that you learned a lot?
Oh my God. Does it have to be dev related?
It doesn't have to be dev related. Anything.
I think in Bit Project overall, I've grown a lot just because we've been around so many students that are just passionate about making an impact and about growth in general that Unlike other organizations, we're constantly trying out new things, making mistakes, and that's totally okay because that's how we learn and that's how we expand over time. For me, I think when I first started in Bit Project, it was still in that phase of I'm never going to be a good coder. So I started with the primary ed team because that's something that I was comfortable with, teaching STEM to students. Um, and for the longest time, I think I was in that role for like a good 7 to 10 months, and I felt like this is it. This is the end of my life. I'm only going to be doing primary education forever. Until there was a certain like point at which I expressed that to you, and I was like, maybe this isn't right for me. And I really was ready for you to just say, yeah, it's okay, leave. But instead, you were like, no, 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 that's fine. Let's find something else that works better for you. And ever since then, like we've been on this path of helping me become a better developer and helping me kind of build back that confidence. I think that's where I've seen that growth of if you're not like happy in a role, that's okay. Talk to people around you because more likely they're going to help you find something that's better instead of telling you to just kind of disappear. Um, and I'm so glad that
The
I brought it up
audacity.
then. Yeah, the audacity.
The Udacity, as I like to say now.
There's a joke in there about like GarageBand and Audacity because those are both like sound programs. Like
Y'all, I
gotcha.
am. Thank you for your patience. I'm just like have my own little hospital ward. I don't know what happened. I
Are
just
you
looked down and I
good?
was like, I am dripping. I'm still just bleeding. Okay, I'm here. I'm literally someone. Yeah, she put the blood, sweat, and tears into that TED talk. Literally. I hope we don't have anybody triggered by blood. I know Brandon Minnick.
Hardworking queen.
Yeah, so Shreya, I have a question for you. So what kind of job do you want after college? Like what are you looking to do?
Honestly, I didn't know developer relations was a thing until very recently. I thought going into dev just meant coding like 10 hours a day every day for some website or something like that. But now that I know that DevRel is a thing, I really love it. Like, I love this idea of using your software engineering skills, but also your people skills to build development into a place where we're teaching other people in the future to become better developers. I think that's how you described it in your stream yesterday, as well as my job is to help teach other people. And that's kind of like what I want to do. I want to use my platform, I want to use my own personality, but also use my skills to help build kind of a better development community in the world, and especially help people that face the same struggles that I did, and Chloe, that you also talked about that you did, where we felt like, maybe we don't belong here, but in fact, there is a space. You just kind of have to get past that initial barrier.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a good answer. It's like a pageant.
And I think that's it. Something that bothers me that I try to do a lot of advocacy around as a developer advocate is a lot of folks who enter this industry, they learn how to program and they think, just like you said, that the only route for them, I'm still bleeding. I'm just like casually opening a Band-Aid and dripping blood from my
Oh
finger.
my God, you're
I
just
don't
like
know.
improvise.
I'm like, what is happening in my life right now? But I think it's really important to like talk about these roles and talk about these options for people. And it's why I make a point to give a lot of talks about, oh my God, you guys, the blood. This is insane. But I give a lot of talks about what other roles there are, like sales engineers. There's so many. I keep telling people, if you have a technical background, there's so many ways that you can contribute in this industry without being a traditional developer, just like you said. I think a lot of folks that I talk to, especially from the theater world, who are asking, someone said Chloe needs an IV. I think I do need a blood transfusion in a little bit because I'm losing blood as I talk about this. I can't even do a TED talk right now because I would bleed on my keyboard. But it's important to talk about these things because how are people going to find their space in tech if they don't even know what their space is? So finding what that is, like what makes you special in this industry, is so important. And I think, Daniel, we've identified a lot of special things that Shreya the Cray can do and does. But I think, is this a segment? I feel like last time we were like, what would be your dream role and what you want to do? What do you see, Daniel, Shreya the Cray, just like thriving in? Maybe being a nurse, hopefully, because
I'm
I
on my
think
way,
Shreya Cray
Chloe.
would make a great nurse.
I
I
don't want to show the blood on camera because I don't want to freak people out, but just know that blood is dripping from my nail right now, and I didn't do anything. All I did was just ask you questions, Shrey. I'm cursed. Okay.
Wow, you're really putting the blood in the blood sweat
Oh
this
my
episode.
God. There's
We love
never a
it.
dull moment. I'm bleeding. I'm going to tweet about this. Now, Daniel, you go.
Okay, yeah. So I think Shreya would do really good in a community people-based role because I feel like Shreya, one of the biggest strengths that I've seen seeing Shreya work with a lot of students is empathy. I think that's something that a lot of the tech industry is lacking, in my humble opinion. And I feel like as a developer advocate, a really important part of your job is to empathize with customers, empathize with developers, seeing what their pain points are, things like that. So I feel like Shreya would do really good in a developer advocacy role focused around people and customers and developers, understanding pain points and converting that into actionable insights, to be like, hey, your documentation sucks because Shania bot, if she
Yeah.
were to get hired by Twitter, she would just overhaul how Shania bot would be built. Shania bot would have 50 more features if Shreya was working on Twitter.
Wow,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know if I wanna
cry.
I don't know if I wanna say that to Chloe because Chloe's the one building Shania bot, but I think that would happen.
I'm
'Cause it just so
sorry. I'm losing blood. I'm listening. Is Chloe going to bleed out? The Band-Aid seems to be stopping the pressure. But I wish I'm gonna send a picture to y'all after this. I just have like blood-soaked alcohol pads and Band-Aid wrappers. And nothing. I didn't do anything. Anyway, enough about my blood. I agree, Daniel. I've worked with Shrey the Cray very closely with Bit Project, and I work at Microsoft. I work with a lot of PMs. I work with a lot of very smart, intelligent people. And I got to tell you, Shrey is always there when I need her. Like every moment, she is there supporting me. She is a leader. She is a supporter. Oh, yes, Chloe is getting lightheaded. Whew,
Yeah. I need to call an ambulance. This is like serious. You're just talking about blood and then you're like, Dev, blood.
Like,
I don't know how you're
and
doing it.
but that's the thing about being a DevRel and having a theater background is being able to think on your feet. When you start
the show
bleeding,
must go on.
the show must go on, Shrey, as you know. But Shreya, the Kreya, I corrected myself, Shreya the Cray. When you are applying for jobs now, what kind of stuff are you applying for and what kind of roadblocks are you running into so we can unblock those roadblocks for you?
That's a really good question. I think in general, the first problem is just being international. I think right off the bat, a lot of systems are just, like rolling me out because I'm not American and the whole sponsorship thing. But
what
Mhm.
are you a citizen of?
I'm Indian, but I've like
Yes.
lived all over, so it's fun.
So a big part of it is probably, and Daniel, you probably know a little bit about this too, is making sure that you're
Yes.
applying to places is it a visa situation?
Yeah. So the problem is this is actually a problem I ran into significantly because I am not American either. I'm Korean by nationality. So, whenever you apply for these jobs, a lot of the jobs that do have visa sponsorship are senior roles. So for
Mhm.
junior developers, like you're kind of out of luck for a lot of these companies because they just assume that because you're from a different country, it's like you might not have the same skill set as
Daniel,
other.
we have a great recommendation in the chat.
Oh my God.
Just go on 90 Day
Shreya,
Fiance. Shreya, this has been in
That's
front of our
perfect.
eyes the whole great
Oh my
suggestion, the
goodness.
Nova Glow.
Why
Wow.
didn't I think of that?
Yeah,
okay,
no,
that was really funny.
so
So it is a huge barrier
this
for
is a really
international
interesting
students.
thing because I know a lot of folks who, even as senior engineers, this is something that's really important to them. I actually owe a very good friend a letter of recommendation as we speak right now. Shout out to Diana, who's probably watching. But how do you vet these things? I'm curious. Do you know? Is this something that you ask up front when you apply? I am a U.S. citizen, but I'm a citizen of the U.K. as well. But I'm wondering when I go and start, maybe if I go apply for a role in India, for example. Uh, so are there ways to vet this on the front end, I guess is my question.
I think there are some companies that make it clear that they do hire, especially if you're going through college. It's easier to kind of figure out if a company is hiring for international students or not. A lot of times it's also kind of like this gray area of you don't want them to know right off the bat. You want them to see you as a person and then decide whether or not you're
Right.
worth sponsoring. So it's just kind of like, oh my God, is this something that I bring up in the beginning, or do I just wait through the entire interview process? And it has happened like multiple times where I don't say anything in the beginning because that's what I've been advised. And then like I go through the interviews and they give me an offer and they're like, oh wait, you're international. We can't go through with this, and we have to kind of stop the process.
If folks in the
So
chat have any recommendations of this is fascinating to me because
This has happened to me multiple times, by the way, Chloe.
yeah.
And the only way that I could have like avoided this is by going the directly to CEO route. That's how I did it.
Wow.
The way that I got my first job is by emailing the CEO of my startup, being like, "Hey, these are my skill sets. I am better than most of the junior devs you're probably gonna get with this salary. You should hire me." And then I got hired immediately. And then the immigration stuff was like on the back burner, because
Interesting.
for me, I got automatic rejections. I got at least 50 automatic rejections because I was
Wow.
an international student.
How big
Oh,
was the startup for
it
CEO
was
access?
so they just raised their Series A,
Okay.
and it was 15 people, so it was very small.
But I also want to take a step back here, Daniel, and say not everyone right out of college goes straight to CEO. That's a Daniel leap into this
No.
world.
So I didn't know this was a thing, but I read a Medium article about this guy who was like a college student who just emailed the head of VCs. This guy went one level above me.
Okay.
This
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pause you real quick, Daniel.
uh-huh.
I think this is great advice for men. Knowing what I know about being a woman and just being
Uh-huh.
upfront with like what like it sucks, but I feel like this may be some biased, not
Oh,
biased,
mhm,
unintentionally. I don't know if y'all know this story about I have two friends who work in the retail industry and they made up a
mhm,
fake third co-founder who was male. And as soon as they
mhm,
did, their emails and responses changed quite a bit. So I'd be willing this is interesting advice. I would
mhm.
love to see a woman try this because I even find as a very senior woman in tech, I even get a little bit of pushback when I put my foot down and talk about my own value and worth. But this is interesting. I do you have the Medium article? I would love to check it out.
Yeah, I don't have it with me because I read it so long ago, and also I refuse to use Medium because of the paywall. But
Because
I will find
the
it.
reason I bring this up, Daniel, is
Huh?
I think similar to so there's this tweet that I quoted in that thread that
Hmm.
I've pinned right now that I was talking about earlier, the iceberg of success. Here, I'll share it. Sorry, I've
Hmm.
got my things here. Um, there's a really interesting tweet that I quoted here from Katie Fujihara that says, if you're part of a minoritized group, prioritize advice given to you by
Hmm.
people who share a similar identity. And I think this is important to like always take
Yeah,
advice
that's
in
true.
general with a grain of salt. Like even in talking with folks like Lorena, who may be in the chat, like you, Daniel, applying for jobs with a computer science degree is so different from like me applying to a
Yeah.
job. So I think the CEO thing is interesting. I do like the overall messaging of like go in there with confidence, demand what you want, but I wonder
Oh yeah.
how this
So I'll
works.
yeah. So I will give you a little bit of background. So I had a templated email, so it wasn't like
Okay.
um just one CEO. I think I emailed 15 CEOs that were all very small. So these are not like big companies. These are like 10 to 15 people. They're very tiny. And I messaged, and then two of them like replied. And it wasn't like give me a job. I was like, hey, I'm looking for opportunities. Do you have anything for me? That was
Mhm.
kind of like the messaging here. And I think I get what you're saying around like it's like you should take advice from minorities, but at this point in my life, I was very desperate for a job because there was a rule that said if you're unemployed for 90 days, you have to get deported. You would get deported. So I was basically trying anything I could because I really needed a job. Because if I didn't find a job for 90 days, I would have gotten it's literally like 90-day fiance. But instead of 90 days to marry someone, it's 90 days to get a job. So what I did was very ballsy. Like that is true. But also that was like one of the last options I had before I would like
Yeah.
had to be forced to leave the country.
But
So that's kind of where I was
I
coming
agree
from.
though, Daniel, because I remember as soon as I switched my job search mentality to, hey, here's the reasons why you need me. Because
Uh-huh.
sometimes I think that we forget how much power we have as folks applying for a job, right? So Shreya, you're probably feeling like, oh my gosh, just like, please God, I need this job, like very chorus line, like, God, I hope I get it. When in reality, the skills that you have and the things that you bring to a position, any company would be so thrilled to have you, Shrey. And we're not just being nice.
Exactly.
Like, we invited you on the show because we genuinely believe this. But I think it's important, especially as women and especially as folks who are maybe feeling particularly discouraged from all the rejection, to remember that you're a freaking superstar, girl. Okay? We really mean that. Like, any
Definitely.
company, I love that. Yeah, Andy says, why you need me. And Seth also said earlier, I want to be seen as a person is likely the greatest thing ever said. I agree. And I hate that you have to hide this piece of you like going into this. And it's sort of like the way that you described it, Trey, reminded me of Shrek, where like
Yeah.
Fiona is afraid to tell Shrek that she's an ogre, when in reality, like if she just told him at the beginning, like he'd be like, "Oh, you're an ogre too. Great, great, great." So I love that you've shared this.
That was pretty good.
That's how Shrek
Oh,
goes.
wait.
I was in Shrek the Musical. I know this, but I think that's a really interesting. And thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure we have so many people who tune into the show and watch the show who it's not only freaking hard to apply for your first software engineering job, but you're also battling with all these external forces that like you have to get over. So like, I just want to. I'm giving you a hug through the screen share, because that's a lot. Like, it's like,
It is
please
so much.
bring me through the front door. Please give me an interview. Please like me. Oh, also, I'm an ogre. Like, please accept me.
I'm gonna add that to every interview now. Also, I'm an ogre.
Ogress, I should say. Fiona is an
Ogress.
ogress, having played Fiona
Ogress. Very
before.
important.
But no, that's like, but Daniel, I wish that I had the chutzpah to just be like,
Oh no,
I
this was
want to
my
be a
last resort.
CEO.
Oh no, that was the last resort. Trust me,
Yeah.
I did the applications, and here's the thing. Like Shreya said, like you get auto rejected by these application software. And to be honest, it's like being an international student. I wouldn't compare it to being like a non-traditional dev, because I feel like that there's like a lot more barriers to that. But if you're in a position where you really need a job, and also there's the system that is designed to get you that job is like really against you, you just have to try really weird things to get your first job.
Yeah.
Because once you get that first job, then you're like a free bird, like you can just like go wherever you want. But I think for me, like the CEO thing was very ballsy, but it was kind of like the last resort, because I really didn't want to do that.
You're
I
like,
wanted
I
to just
don't want
apply.
this responsibility.
Yeah, this is so like it gave me a heart attack every time a CEO responded, because I was like, what am I gonna say?
Well,
This
let's
is,
think of what that is for Shrey then, because I'm thinking, let's think about what Shrey's really good at and how she should pose herself to these
Mhm,
companies, be it in her cover letter. Like, I remember for me personally,
mhm.
I was like, look, I am a junior dev. My dev skills are here, but my public speaking and presenting skills are here. So you need to like get me matched up here. I think for what are you thinking for Shrey, Daniel? Because I'm thinking
Yeah,
Shreya has all these great communication skills. She's really great at bringing people together and community work. How do we leverage that on a resume, in a cover letter, on this chat, just so people see how
yeah.
awesome she is? How do we do that? How do we cherry pick that?
Yeah, I think something that Shreya brings that I think a lot of developer advocates, especially at the junior level, don't bring is program management experience. Because
Mm,
Shreya's entire role at Bit Project is managing developer programs. Like that's her job, like at Bit Project. And I feel like that is an experience that a lot of senior developer advocates have, but not a lot of junior developer advocates have. So I think what Shreya should highlight is our ability to first work with developers. That's I think a skill. I think that's a skill is
yeah.
being able to motivate developers, work with developers, set up ambassador programs. Working with student developers. I think these are all skills that are pretty niche, especially in our like field, that I think
And
would be really good
I
additions
think
to
the
teams.
key to the wording there in a resume or cover letter is, look, I've dealt with a variety of personalities, ages, communities, which is true. Like, sometimes it's hard
Uh-huh.
to talk about yourself. And I think a really great exercise for anybody out there who's really struggling to either write their bio for something or write their resume or write their cover letter is, sometimes we don't see how cool we are. And it takes an external, like a good friend, a family member, someone that you trust to be like, hey, can you just sit down with me and like bullet point the cool shit that I do so I know how to talk about myself? Because it's hard to talk about yourself sometimes. Like it's hard to find those special things. We have a really great question here. Oh yeah, Seth says, I have a super hard time talking about myself. It's just weird. Yeah, I always feel really uncomfortable talking in third person in a speaker bio about myself. It's like, Chloe did all these great things. And then when people introduce me, I'm like, who are they talking about? There's a question here that I actually think we could all answer really well, which is, hi there, I have a question. How can I help teach the devs I mentor soft skills? They are great tech nerds, but being as they are from different culture, I'm not sure how to teach work culture. Also unrelated, I was Fiero in Wicked. Shout out theater nerds. Oh my gosh, where did you play Fiero? Fiero in Wicked. He's gone to get me a refreshment. That's so exciting. I would say, so I'm assuming we mean kind of soft skills on the job type stuff. This is a lot of stuff that's learned on the job, but I do think there's a lot of skills that are teachable. A lot of things like presenting skills, communication skills. I'm trying to think of actual class things though. Shreya and Daniel, do you have any recommendations?
I think the best way to get developers to have social skills is contributing to open source and being part of a community of open source developers. Because I had the pleasure of working with like a bunch of Ruby developers for like a event I organized called Ruby Galaxy, and that required me to first commit code, work with other folks on the GitHub repo, which means communication skills in terms of writing commit messages, writing pull requests, message like GitHub issues, things like that, communicating through text, but also like working together on like synchronous meetings and talking with other developers about how to like organize an event. And the open source communities out there are so nice, so welcoming. And I think just having your students and mentees part of that and connecting with other developers and learning those like soft skills like presenting at meetups, committing code, like communicating asynchronously. I think those are all really good soft skills that you learn by doing the tech skills. It's like both the best of both worlds.
I love this. Have them work in sales for 6 months. They'll become social butterflies. I worked in sales for a little bit, was not for me, but I did work in customer support for many years. And I will say, having to interact with customers, I think that should be a requirement for any engineer or person working in a technical role to empathize with users and bugs and issues. I also love this comment, which is, I also think hiring interdisciplinary folks or devs with non-traditional backgrounds really helps with this as well. I could not agree more. On the teams that I've worked on during my career, having people from these different backgrounds who aren't just so hyper focused on the tech world helps open up not only just soft skills and communication, but also ideas, like getting ideas kind of outside of the box.
Yeah, and I just want to add to what like Chloe and Daniel said earlier about the soft skills is how important it is for them to know what their strengths and weaknesses are. Like I know in interviews they often ask like, what is your greatest strength and weakness? And that's like a really important question to just keep asking yourself even outside of interviews. And we do that a lot in Bit Project because it's so important to know like, okay, this is something that I'm really good at as a person I can use to help the rest of my team improve on. But also these are the areas in which I want to constantly grow myself. And I've seen that a lot in developers where they think that if I'm weak at something, then I'm just not going to practice it. I'm going to ignore that side of my life and I'm just going to focus on my own strengths. But instead, what you could be doing as their leader is putting them in situations where they have to test their weaknesses and they have to test their limitations. So they're kind of forced to try out different ways to overcome them. Because it's very common for them to just be like, oh, I'm not good at talking to people, so I'm just going to avoid doing that. Just period. You know?
But it's so important to be able, even if you're just like, I'm a technical person, I don't present, being able to express and present your ideas and your projects, I think goes hand in hand with being a good developer. And I love this advice from Seth. Take a theater class. Yes. Oh my gosh. Could not agree more. I think there's really something to be said for improv with giving live demos. Like, oh my gosh, would totally be lost without that. But I think honestly, Daniel, what sets Shreya the Cray apart from a lot of candidates is her soft skills. She's like a plushie when it comes to
So
soft
soft.
skills. Yeah, wow, great, Shreya, fantastic insight. I agree. All right, so Daniel, I'm freaking ready for Shreya to get a job. Like my dream.
Definitely.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because if Shreya the Cray gets a job, then she probably can't dedicate as much time to Bit Project, which we'll allow. That's fine. Like your job's important. But how can we just shout from the rooftops that Shreya the Cray needs? How can we get her adopted, Daniel? How do
I
we make
think
this happen?
the best way is to please, if you know that your company is hiring a community manager, a developer advocate, anything
Yes.
relating to improving your product for developers, please send her a DM. Wait, your DMs are open, right, Shreya? Please tell me they're
Yeah, I think
open.
so.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Okay, cool.
believe. I
Okay, cool.
believe.
I believe I can fly. Sorry, I really like that song. So please DM Shreya if you have any opportunities for her. She's amazing. I can personally vouch for her amazingness.
And Shreya the Cray, where can people find you on the internet?
So we can
Everywhere with the same handle. It's over here. Yes, Shreya the Cray on
Shreya.
Twitter, on Instagram, on everything.
Could you drop Shreya's Twitter like in the chat?
Yes, I will do that right now.
You
Let's
guys
see.
are gonna make me cry. This is so cool.
Well, we believe the children are our future. No. We really believe in this. Like that we want you. We don't understand. This is why we started the show. We're just like we don't understand why these people aren't hired, and you need to adopt them. Okay, we dropped Shrey's Twitter in the chat. Daniel, do you have any more TED Talks to give us?
I think the lesson we learned here is, life is hard out there for like junior devs, and if you have a job, wait, I gotta like queue up
We're
the
still not used to it. We're still not used to it.
yeah. Wait, I have to queue up the little thing. Okay, 1 second.
Okay,
So
this will be worth it. This will be worth it.
so this could be worth it. Okay, so if you are a senior dev, if you have a job already in the industry, you should like do your part. Okay, you should do your part to help other people who are trying to get their foot in their door. So so sorry,
We
I
gotta
just read a
rehearse this
comment.
more.
I think he
gotta
just got
rehearse.
distracted by his own filter.
I got distracted by my own video, but I'm just gonna stop looking at the screen so I like don't laugh at myself. I think
Look
it's
at that
important.
crowd. They're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is emotion. So the key here is if you're a developer, if you already have a job and you have some spare time, go mentor someone from a non-traditional background. Go
yes.
there's nonprofits out there like Bit Project and other nonprofits that help people get ready for software like engineering interviews. Like a go mentor at Hackbright. There's so many opportunities out there for only a couple hours like a week. You can really change someone else's life. And you know what? Like I'm sure you have that couple of hours, to spare in your week. So just go and help people that need your help, because imagine how great tech would be if all these cool people were working here.
I can't take Chloe seriously.
I'm trying to be like the audience. Thank you,
Okay,
Daniel,
cool.
for that beautiful TED Talk. Someone said, Shreya, do you want to be a content administrator?
No,
I
say
actually
no
don't
to
know
that.
what that
No,
is.
no, no.
No.
That's a
I
no.
don't
That's
know what
someone
that
who
is.
that's someone who enters text into a CMS. That is a no, no, ma'am.
LOL. Yeah, and that's actually an interesting thing to even bring up on the show. I get a lot of folks that I mentor from non-traditional backgrounds who ask me like, "Hey, what about this QA job, or what about this support engineer job, or what about this technical writer job?" And there are some really great high-paying jobs out there that definitely check a lot of boxes on the experience that you may have in those things. But I think it's also important to know what kind of work you'll be doing and if that's work that you'll enjoy. Because, for example, I work in developer relations. I love doing that stuff. But if you talk to some people really would hate what I do, right? Like they're like, please do not get me in front of a crowd of people. That sounds like my absolute nightmare. And we talked about this a little bit before, Shreya the Cray, about kind of what your dream role would be. But what are those kind of top 3 things that you're looking for in a company as far as the type of job that you're looking for?
I think I'm definitely looking for a role, like I said before, where I get to work with other people. I don't want to be stuck in an office, even if it's a remote office where I'm just like working by myself 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm looking for somewhere I can really grow my development skills as well, where I don't just get limited to, hey, you have this one skill, so you do that and do it really well, but rather go out and test out your, limits and see what you're capable of and keep improving on it. And honestly, like writing about tech has been something that I didn't even know was a thing until recently, and that is really fun. Just like getting an opportunity to communicate technology to other people is something that I'm looking for.
Yeah, we got. I'm a professional tech writer. We've got. I'm a content admin, and I hate my life. Okay, we'll take that. Quick update on my thumb, y'all.
How's it going?
Seems to be contained. If you're just tuning in, I was bleeding profusely from doing absolutely nothing. So I've not lost all my blood.
Do we need to send any blood bags?
You know what? I think I might need a blood boy soon because I'm just dripping blood from my finger. Daniel, any other questions you want to ask Shreya the Cray?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to double emphasize y'all should hire Shreya. Like she's gonna really change the tech world. I can see it, and I really need her to get a tech job so she can live in San Francisco next to me so we can go get brunch.
And the best part of Adopt-A-Dev is we do not take a founder's fee. We just let you adopt these puppies for free, okay? Yeah,
well, I take a 2% commission.
That he's a fan. Got lots of fans here. Yeah, we were discussing earlier before we went live that Daniel owed Shreya the Cray some boba for the subscribers that he got from the stream last night.
Yesterday Shreya and I were streaming and we got 2 subscribers. I don't want to keep the profits for myself, all $5 of profits, so I'm gonna buy Shreya a boba. We can stream
boba's only 3, so you can keep the rest after.
Okay, I have a TED Talk.
We tip, so it's like it's 5, we gotta tip the boba makers.
I have a TED Talk to give. May I have the floor?
May I have the floor,
counselor? Thank you.
We're gonna start.
Let's do it.
Okay. In conclusion, look, it looks like I have one of those TED Talk mics because of my. Okay. In conclusion, I think that you should hire Shreya to be your community manager, DevRel, or any position on your team. It's not zooming out. Hold on. Reset. Okay, and scene. In conclusion, I think you should hire Shreya to be the DevRel or community manager on your team because I love her, Daniel loves her, and every time it gets to this point in the TED Talk, I totally lose my train of thought because I want to start laughing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. Honestly, I'm so honored to be here.
Y'all hire Shreya. What was that?
I don't know. I'm scared. It's Snap camera. Oh, thank you. Best TED Talk I've ever seen. Thank you so much. Yeah, VR is a hell of a thing. Shreya, any parting words before we sign on for this Adopt-A-Dev episode? What would you like? Okay, so it's interesting because we call the show Adopt-A-Dev thinking like puppies, right? But I guess it could also be like Annie and Daddy Warbucks. So you choose the format in which you're speaking. But what would you like to say out there for your prospective parents?
Honestly, I do think that I have a lot to learn and a lot of ways to grow, but that's something that I would also like to bring to your company or anywhere that you work. I like taking risks and I like using risks as a way to like learn and help other people around me grow as well. So I feel like I have a lot to bring and I'm really like grateful for Chloe and Daniel for bringing me on this TED Talk today. And if you ever want to talk and just get to know me better, just feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you guys.
She would love to pair program with you.
Yes, pair program with Shrey. We'll also add a link to her Twitch as well. And also think about having a person on your team that when you start bleeding profusely on a Teams meeting or a Zoom, like they're going to keep their calm and keep you alive. Make sure that your blood flow is good. There's so many things that Shreya the Cray can contribute to your team. Daniel, I'm going to let you close it out on a high note with...
wait, let me see how high I can make that.
Ariana Grande. We were talking about Sam and Cat before the show. Okay, wait. Don't we have a segment that we ended on last time, Daniel? It's been 2 weeks since we've done the show. Now I'm totally forgetting how we closed it out. We were like, this is how we're going to close out the
Oh,
show.
it's a song. It's a song, and then we have
Oh,
to sing it, and then we have to end it while singing it. Everyone should be confused when we end
okay.
it.
I
Be
think
like,
I got
is that
it.
it?
Wait, I
Okay.
think there were questions about the shirt bot earlier.
Oh,
before we
yes,
closed it out.
yes. The shirt's bought. Okay. Real quick, y'all.
Wait, y'all, I have to leave because I have a
Okay.
meeting for my job.
You
So
can leave. Shreya and I will close on it.
Can I say
shirt
hello? Bye to the people. Just be like, bye everyone.
Bye,
Have a great day.
Daniel.
Hire Shreya.
Hire.
Not hi Shreya. Not hi Shreya.
I'm removing you.
Shreya.
Bye. Go to your meeting. Okay. Shirt bots. This is a shirt, y'all, that I bought from Twitter. Now, this started because of a tweet thread where I was like, if I tweet this design, can I buy a shirt of it? The answer is yes. Talk coming soon around bot ethics and why it's important to not have bots that infringe on copyright issues with artists' work. Because as the daughter of an artist, important to not steal people's work. Don't buy shirts from a shirt bot. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I would have done it with the TED Talk filter, but you couldn't see the shirt.
That was
Okay.
amazing. I'm excited for that talk.
Thank you so much. Shreya, when are you usually streaming your live coding stuff so people can check it out?
I think it's usually around 6 to 8 p.m. every weekday. So I'll do that on Daniel's channel. And then I'm trying to start my own streaming channel, but we'll see where that goes.
Wait, you're streaming every weekday?
Yeah, we're trying to. On Wednesdays, the timing might be off, but
Oh my
'cause of
goodness.
classes.
I'm like, self-care is important. So, and that's on your channel and on Daniel's channel, right?
I think it's directly on Daniel's channel, and then in the future, I'll try to do some different stuff on my own channel as well.
We gotta get you your own channel. We gotta get you your own boba income source, Shreya the Cray. Well, thank you so much for coming today. We will be
Thanks for having
sharing
me.
and tweeting out all the different information to follow Shreya on all the different things. And in conclusion, wait, we should end with a TED Talk. That's how we
Let's
should
do it.
end.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
Let me get my TED Talk. Okay. So, in conclusion, hire Shreya the Cray because, okay, it froze again. Hold on. One second.
Technical difficulties. It's okay. It happens.
There's some kind of bug that the first time I click it, it doesn't work. Okay. In conclusion, hire Shreya the Cray because if you want a good community manager and someone who can communicate well, you're going to want Shreya the Cray on your team. Thank you